Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about setbacks and also cite real life experiences on how people have been able to stage a comeback from their setback situation. Sit down, relax, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. Today, we're going to talk about setbacks. So, what is a setback? I mean, we need to talk about this because, especially in this time, a lot of people have experienced setbacks, especially with the COVID thing that happened. A lot of people have lost their jobs, a lot of people can't reopen their business. A lot of businesses are trying to, struggling to get back on track. So, setbacks, a lot of people, it's something that a lot of people can associate with at this time in history. So, setback is when you lose your job, or your marriage is not working, or you are actually in a job but you're not happy at it. At that point in time, you feel like you're in a box and you're not achieving your financial goal, or you're not achieving the mental stability and the peace that you so desired as an adult. So that's what I'm gonna categorize as a setback. So you see your contemporaries are actually progressing, but for some reason you're not on the same pace as them, and you begin to worry about how you're going to get around it. So while I was preparing for my podcast, I had a talk with one of my old-time friends, and we just talked about our lives like 5 years ago. And at that point in time, we were experiencing setbacks at various levels. For me, it was more of I wanted to be the best version of myself, but I just couldn't see how. Like the pathway was like very narrow, and I had like few options. And one of the things I did at that point in time was I decided I wanted a better life, and I wanted a system that's going to help me to achieve that. So that was when I applied, and I moved to Canada at that point in time, and it has been the best decision I've ever taken in my life, because all the things I wanted to achieve as a woman that has a career, as a mom, as a wife, as a daughter, I was able to achieve it because of the culture and the system. The system just works. The system has been organized in such a way that if you put in hard work into it, you will reap the effect of it. So at that point in time, that was the problem I had, and that was how I was able to resolve that setback in my life. And it's definitely totally the best thing to do. For my friend, on the other hand, he had the career, he had the family. However, the career was taking like more of his time and mental strength than he could afford. Like, he had to consistently have to do like extra hours he doesn't want to do, and it was even almost as though he was pressurized to do it. Like, it was almost like if you don't do it, you're gonna lose your job no matter how good you are. Like, you're forced to do like long hours, and you're not even getting paid for it. And you butt head with people you shouldn't be butting head with, because the demands was actually unreasonable. So at that point in time, he it's the rock bottom, and he had to like look for another job and move to another country, another company that actually valued his time. And everything was still working, but he really feared for his family. Like, he doesn't want them to grow up in a society, that it was cutthroat, basically, to excel, So he decided at a point in time, like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to change my country. I heard Canada is taking highly skilled individual. He applied in 2 months. He moved to Canada, and once he moved to Canada, of course, he had transferable skills, and it has been the best decision of his life, because barely 2 years walking in here, he bought his own house. Like, that is something that is not possible where it was coming from. Like, in 20 years, you would not be able to buy a house of your own. And even if you do, it's gonna be in a very remote area, and your life is gonna be like harder, because the drive to work is gonna be longer and much more stressful. So it was the best decision of his life at that point in time to move. So when you're experiencing setback, it's sometimes a good thing, because if you don't have that pressure, you will be living in the bubble, like you be living in your comfort zone. So while we're talking about that, we remembered also a mutual friend that actually got into Canada, and at that point in time, he was working for one of the top companies, one of the companies everybody that wants in like a professional career wants to work in. But then what happened then was there was recession, and he had to be fired from the work because they were losing money and they couldn't keep everybody, and you know how it is, last thing to get in, the first to go out. So he was affected by the man firing that happened at that point in time. So one of the things that he learned, or he took away from that, was that he was never going to allow anybody fire him again. So that setback for him made him look inward to say, what can I do for myself? Like, I want to take my destiny in my hands. I don't want to ever be fired again. And that really propelled him to start his own business. He started his own business as a consultant, and right now he's doing so well. The last time we spoke, the project he was working on was valued at $500,000 in dollars. I mean, that's awesome. And it was just a contract for like a year or two. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to do that kind of job, But if he did not have a setback, there is no way he would have looked inwards and looked within on how to improve himself. So it's not every setback you experience that would sink you. Some people can actually swim through it. So I hope we're talking about setbacks today and being able to cite examples of how people that had setbacks in the past and they've been able to overcome it. It's going to encourage you to look within yourself. Like, right now, I know it's shitty. Right now, I know it feels like the world is coming to an end. It's not going to come to an end, right? People were actually still scoring like making major moves during this period. Maybe it's time for you to start your own company. Maybe it's time for you to start out that great idea you always wanted to. Then you used to think, I don't have enough time to do it. Hey, babes, now you have all the time in the world to try it. I mean, give it a try. The worst thing that can happen is you fail, and even the best and the brightest of us still fail. So don't let that hold you down. Don't let that stop you. Don't let that deprive you, because at the end of the day, the success story is at the backside of fear. So if you're able to overcome the fear you're currently having, everybody has it. Everybody has doubt, self-doubt, fear lurking at the corner of their heart, thinking, oh my God, am I going to fail at this? It's normal. Doubt is normal. Everybody feels it. I read an article on Instagram recently. This lady she's doing so well, and she came out in a very vulnerable way to admit the fact that self-doubt is almost stopping her from going. Like, I was so shocked. This is someone I feel, oh my God, this babe has got it all together, but she's come out to confess it. Like, the best and the brightest of us all as experience self-doubt all the time, experience fear all the time, all the superstar. It's normal. You need to overcome it. Like, you can't just keep running away from your fears. You can't keep running away from your self-doubts. It's normal. It's just human. Like, it's something that happens to the best of us. So setbacks, let it be your strategy for your comeback, because sometimes you need to go through the wilderness of your life. You need to pass through that path, that narrow path that will eventually lead you into your abundance. So I hope you've been able to learn one or two things from my talk today. Till the next, thank you for listening. Bye.